Hi everyone and welcome back to Invest Naturally. In today's video, we are going to be making a DIY diaper cover. This is actually part 2 of a video series where I repurpose old military uniforms that are no longer in regulations. So if you want to go ahead and watch that video, go ahead and click that tab in the top right hand corner. Alright, so let's get into the video. Now, there is a disclaimer. This is not a tutorial. This is just me following a tutorial. If you want to watch that tutorial, I will leave a link below in the description, as well as leave a link at the top right hand corner so that you can watch that video. She does a great job at explaining it, but this video is just me following that tutorial and repurposing these military jeans into something wearable that we can use and not just take up unnecessary space. Alright, so before I started sewing the fabric from the military uniform, I decided to take this scrap fabric, and as you can tell, it turned into a DIY diaper cover. The only issue is I accidentally faced the pretty side of the fabric in the wrong direction, so it actually sewed inside, which was a good learning curve for me. It taught me to be extra careful. It made a diaper cover, but just not the exact look that I was looking for. Okay, so we've already started cutting, but before we started, we placed our template on top of our fabric, as well as a weight to hold the template in place as we cut alongside it. As a reminder, before we proceed any further in this project, please do not follow my steps. These are the correct steps you will need to take to complete this project. The only reason I say do not follow mine is because although you do need to place the template on the fabric, you need to do it correctly, which I did not do here. You can tell right there in the middle where there's a crease as I fold. That is where the fold is, and that is not where I ended up placing the template correctly. I ended up placing the template where it says fold, as you can tell, at the edge, not where the fold is. So this is actually incorrect. Now moving on to the back part of the diaper cover piece. We are making this diaper cover for a newborn to a 3-month-old. If you're not certain of what size you need to make for your baby, there is also a size chart on here, as well as the URL where we got this template from. Alright, so let's continue on my fail of cutting out these templates, even though I've already done them before. But I guess when you're doing things on camera, it can confuse you a little bit because you're dealing with what's in focus in the camera, is everything in the camera view, as well as is the camera still recording. All of these things are going on while I'm also trying to make sure I don't mess up. So here's where I make the fold. Unfortunately, where I drag my finger along, that is not the fold, that is the edge, and that is, again, where I ended up putting the back template on. Alright then, so since we know not to follow this particular step of mine, I am going to go ahead and fast forward through this process since it is the same as the front side, except the template is slightly different. Okay, for the sake of this video, we're going to pretend I actually cut these fabric pieces out correctly. So here we have our back side. Again, I know it's incorrect, but we're going to pretend. So for the next step, we're going to place our back and front pretty sides together so we can sew into this. Alright, and now to show how we actually sewed all these pieces together. Alright, so off camera I did correctly cut out the fabric pieces. So now we have both the pretty sides facing each other, and we are about to sew along the bottom edges. I am using a standard foot press and a simple stitch line. Now that we've stitched up the bottom area of our diaper cover, we are going to fold our edges twice so that we can make an insert for the elastic. Now that I've finished that step, I am going to pin down the folds so that they don't move out of place while I am sewing them. Once I'm done with that step, we are now going to go back to the sewing machine. I am again just using a standard foot press and a simple stitch. Don't forget to remove your pins as you go. Once we are done with that side, we are now going to proceed to do the exact same step on the other side. Once we were done folding all 4 sides and sewing them together, we moved on to the next step. This step requires no folds, but we are going to be sewing these ends together with a simple stitch. Once we have finished both ends, we are now going to move on to the next step, which is adding the elastic. In total, we have 3 pieces, 2 small ones and 1 long piece. The pieces we want will be the 2 small elastic strips to make the leg holes. Now we are going to grab a safety pin and attach it to one end of the elastic. The reason for this is so that we have something to grip on while we slide it through our inserts we sewed in earlier. Once we reach the end of our leg hole opening, we are going to clip the safety end piece to the other end of the elastic so that we do not lose it inside of the insert. Once we have done both sides of the leg holes, we are now going to secure each of the elastic pieces to the opposite ends. Before we started sewing, we made sure to remove the safety pins. This time we are going to be using a zigzag stitch. And then we are going to close up the holes that we needed in order to insert the elastic pieces. Now for our final step, we are now going to be closing up the top portion of the diaper cover the exact same way we did our leg holes. We finally made it to the end, and here is the final product. What do you think? It did take me a little bit, but from this to that, I think we did pretty good. All right, thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye-bye.